Welcome to the Be Beautiful Women series. I'm excited that you joined me. I'm Junia, CEO of Beautiful Nurses Magazine, and I'm here with the beautiful MochaMixx. I'm glad you're here. Be Beautiful Women series was started because we wanted to get to the bottom of a lot of things with women. I, in particular, created it because sometimes when we talk about women's health, women's mental issues, and just the conflicts that women have and the successes that they have, we really don't get to the foundation.
That's correct.
You know, you can see a show, you'll see someone talking about women and the things that they do and the things that they experience, and it's like, okay, I want more, I want more. So this is just a snippet of Mocha and I talking about it, but we've got a lot of great, beautiful women who are going to sit with us on the couch, and we're going to talk girl talk. You may see us in our jammies, or you may see us by the poolside, or you may see us somewhere having cocktails, or you may see us at Coffee Sips and Nurses Tips, or you may see us like today, just sitting down, getting to the surface of everything, exposing those questions and answers that people want to know. So today, with Mocha, we're going to talk about domestic violence a little bit. Just a snippet so that you come back and join us with the special guest that Mocha will have and that I will bring to the table as well. So Mocha shared her beautiful story with us. And you may say, domestic violence, how is that beautiful? The beauty is she came out of it.
Right.
And so at Beautiful Nurses Magazine, we want to focus on how you can beautifully be better. So Mocha talked about domestic violence, and if you have not seen our fall edition, which we will be replacing with winter, you need to go on and see her interview. And I think we're going to keep that running, Mocha, so people can listen and can hear, and women can go to it and gain strength.
Absolutely.
Okay?
That's what it's about.
Absolutely. So domestic violence, we're going to talk about that today a little bit. When you think of domestic violence, you think of the hitting, you think of sexual assault, you think of mental anguish, you think of so many things, and you think women. Now, there's a portion of the population that we know, male, who are victims of domestic violence, so we're not excluding that. But women are usually the face of it because we tend to be more of the victim per se, that poster child of the person that is being affected, and men have to be strong. And so they can't admit that they've got some woman when they walk in the house that slaps them, you know, throws things at them. So, Mocha.
Yes.
As we talk about the foundation of domestic violence and why it happens to women, what is your take on it? You went through it.
I did.
So what is your take? So, you know, we're looking at some things on television now, I don't want to say names, of somebody of high status, celebrity status, who has victimized people, or it has been said that he potentially did these things.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, So, what is your take on it?
You know, domestic violence to me doesn't really have a face. It could be anyone. It could be your mom, it could be your sister, it could be your niece, it could be even your daughter. We've seen that over television the last couple of days where allegedly these girls, some girls were being sexually and emotionally and physically abused as young as 12 years old. And so there's really no face to domestic violence. For me, I kind of have sympathy and empathy for anyone going through it because when you're in it, you actually don't really realize you're in it.
Yes.
And that's the point. When I was in it for so long, it was a vicious cycle, but you're with someone, you love them,
Yes.
you want them to, you're trying to better them, you're trying to better you guys together, you're trying to build, marriage may be something, it may be a boyfriend or any of that. And for me, I spent so much time trying to build this person up, naively not knowing that I was going through a physical, emotionally, and spiritually abusive relationship.
And it was breaking you down.
It broke me totally all the way down. It definitely broke me down, but there is a rise to the fall. So
Yes.
for me, I was able to one day recognize that this is not right. And, leaving is the hardest thing.
Yes.
Because you're complacent, you may have a house and built a house or be living with someone and they're giving you financially what you may need, but emotionally you're not having that on the other end. And so that's tough for women, as you see all the time. That's why they have these hotlines going on. They have these shelters for women and men that are being abused. And so you just have to find some way to get strength to say enough is enough. And you do that for yourself. You may be doing that for your children, and you're doing it just to protect your family at some point.
Absolutely. So when we think of domestic violence, thank you for that, because all of that is a good example, an excellent example of why we tend to stay, or women tend to stay, men tend to stay. It's usually attached to a child or their self-esteem, or financially. They can't find their way out. But when we think of why it even happens, I've always, as a nurse, I think that's one thing that I loved about nursing. We look at why something happened. So critically, I think, why did that happen? Like, why did you hit her? Why did you say that to her? Why are you staying? Why would you allow family even to abuse? Why? And so you look at it critically to say, why is that happening? So I look at the person that's doing it. And so with this series, we're going to be talking about the abusers as much as those being abused, because I think it's important for you to know what the face and the history of an abuser is. So that way, those who are reading and viewing Beautiful Nurses magazine, they will see, okay, I'm going through that.
Right.
That looks like my husband. That looks like my wife. That looks like the people who I'm taking this treatment from. And so in looking at the abusers, also to touch on how do we prevent people from even becoming abusers. And that starts at home, and whatever your home is, whether it's a single parent, whether it's foster home, whether there is, even if it's a nuclear family, blended. Where did that come from?
I think we just have to get back to family, and that's a big part of what we're missing.
Yes.
The family, whatever nationality is, it's specifically to the Black family. I said something, to myself today as I was looking at a series on TV where we are not protected as women anymore. We, back in the day, I could remember an uncle showing up, your grandfather, your dad, your brother, and being this strong male figure to say that, hey, that's my daughter, that's my niece, you can't talk to her this kind of way.
Yes.
If you're coming to see her and pick her up for a date, you have to come knock at the door. There's certain things that are not going on, and we have accepted it, because we too, we hold some of that. We have accepted it and allowed men to just do whatever they want to do. And now we're to a place now that we have all these movements going on, because for years and decades, we have been victimized and abused, and it's men and women.
Yes.
And so for me, I think we have to get back to the family where men are protectors and providers. I think that's the number one thing for me, because I look back on my situation and say, could I have been protected more? Where were my uncles? Where were, the family figures? Where were the guys on the block?
Even that uncle in the church that wasn't your uncle, but that
the
person,
village.
The village.
It's called the village. Where was the village? And so I think through this series, we'll touch on all of that. But for me, it was just going back to home and family, and not so much as, how you were raised, but it's also what the village taught you about how to be treated, how you should be treated, and holding your own self accountable to say that, hey, this is something I'm not going to deal with. I'm not going to deal with a man speaking to me in any kind of way, or anyone for that matter. And I think that has been lost somewhere in the cycle. And
I totally agree with you. And with this series, we're going to be talking to families and women of all nationalities. Not all, but the ones that we think of a lot. Hispanic, Asian, Indian. We're going to get different women to sit with us for this series, because I think it's important what you're saying as far as family, and because the Black experience is familiar to you and I must say, beautiful comment, because when I was growing up, I knew that if I said anything to Chuck Taylor, which is my daddy, if I said Daddy XYZ, I knew he would show up for me. Same thing for my grandfathers, Grandfather Taylor, Grandfather Thomas. If I said anything that someone offended or hurt me, especially a boy or a man, they're there. And I'll never forget the words that my grandfather said to me. He built our family home in Wilmington, North Carolina with his own bare hands. A black carpenter in Wilmington, North Carolina, and he built it with love. And I remember being a little girl, maybe about 9 or 10, and he said to me, if a man ever puts you out, if he ever tells you you're nothing, you can always come back to 520. And I didn't understand that at that age, but how many little girls have that where somebody says to you, if they touch you, if they do this, and he would tell me, if somebody touches you inappropriately, if they say something to you, if they tell you something's going to happen to us, if you tell, you come to us. And when you get older, if anybody puts you out, if anybody does you wrong, you can come back here.
Mm-hmm.
And how many little girls and how many women are protected that way? So that's excellent, Mocha.
Yeah.
We got to get back to family and holding each other accountable, because secrets in the black community, we know, are rampant. Secret and not living in our truth. And so there are a lot of movements, a lot of organizations that are helping people live in their truth. So at Beautiful Nurses Magazine, which is a magazine not just for nurses, but those people who nurse the soul, it's important for me as a nurse. If you have diabetes, it's more than just saying take your insulin. I want you to eat right and exercise. I want to get at the foundation as to why you don't. Oh, well, I ate all this crazy food growing up. I was unhealthy. My whole family's unhealthy. So then we have to get to the foundation.
That's all it's about.
Same thing with domestic violence.
Yep.
We have to get to the foundation to stop little boys from becoming men who abuse. And we have got to stop little girls from being bullies and women who are unkind, not nice, not compassionate.
Yeah, we'll get on to all that once we start the
all of
series.
that,
We'll get to
all of that, so that they don't become abusers.
Correct.
So
Yep.
I think that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So stay tuned.
Stay
I hope we've given you some of what we'll be doing, giving you enough of what we will be doing to help you be beautiful and to do beautiful things.
That's what we're here for.
Beautiful Nurses Magazine. Thank you, Mocha.
You're welcome.